Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
So I'm going to give you a brief intro, and then please feel free to add in anything else because this is about you and not me.
Mhm.
First of all, I just want to say that, well, I'll just get into the intro. So this is our alum Aidan Pauer, and Aidan was a May graduate just in 2022 with a BFA in Visual and Performing Arts, as well as a BA in English Creative Writing. And I'm so excited about that to combine how you combine the creative writing with theater. Okay, and so Aidan's the playwright of Clara and Carmilla, which it has been accepted to the New York City Theater Festival, which is amazing, and is currently playing. So you've had a couple shows this week, and I believe your last show is tomorrow. And I really am grateful that you were able to join this week in the middle of all the excitement, right?
Yeah.
So let me see, just I think if you could tell us a little bit, all I know briefly that Clara and Carmilla is a Gothic tale for the modern day, and
Mhm.
I've read a little bit about it, but would you please share more?
Yeah, so just once again, I'm Aiden. My preferred pronouns are they, them. And Clara and Carmilla was partly inspired, mostly inspired by the novel, the original novel Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. I can never pronounce it right. I hope I did. Um, and I heard about the novel in my one of my classes that I was taking for my English, one of my level 400, it was hashtag me too within Irish writing. I had a wonderful professor with it, Michelle Woods, and she mentioned the novel, and I wanted to find a copy to read. And then it inspired this whole process because I was also taking craft of dramatic writing at the same time with Erin Ricciardi. And Clara and Carmilla is sort of about the main character, Clara, and there are three other friends, including their partner, and them living off campus in college and everything. And sort of we see Clara wanting to write about this novel as she was assigned to the novel Dracula, but then somehow through means came across the novel Carmilla and grew very passionate about it. And throughout that, we see Carmilla herself sort of take form and the interactions between Clara and Carmilla as Clara starts to lose themselves throughout this. And it talks about mental health, it talks about queerness, but not about like coming out or anything, but kind of like how queerness like shapes your experiences around you and how things are different for you. And
Mm.
we sort of see this group of friends try to handle all of this together and how mental health can affect others around you and all of that. This is sort of a very long, rambly, convoluted way, but in the end, it's about Clara's mental health journey.
Great, great. It makes me want to see it from that description. So I also wanted to give a shout out that the production team is all SUNY New Paltz alumni,
Yes.
and Nico Torres is your director. So just that it's great to be able to bring other SUNY New Paltz family in
Yeah.
to your endeavor.
Yeah. Nico Torres, wonderful person. I love them. Is our director. Uh, Jenner Baker Morrissey, or JB, is our stage manager. Wonderful stage manager. Couldn't do the show without her. And then Martin Bench, who was the valedictorian for our class, actually was our lighting designer and works with all the lighting for our show. So it's a very New Paltz group we have going.
Yeah, it's great. From my short time working with theater, I have noticed that it is such a kind of connected and small industry. And the great thing I think about SUNY New Paltz is you'll see that you're a playwright and an actor and a producer, right? You have a lot of a lot of titles, and but you'll see people bringing in others, which is great because you're all part of your network.
Yeah. I mean, I was just recently graduated and I found out that I got accepted to this play festival on graduation day. So I was like, I need to find people I trust and who I can work with. And I met with when I first initially got into this, I met with one of the theater professors, Catherine Doherty, who is one of my mentors within the theater department, was talking to me, and then I realized I needed to find New Paltz people because they were the ones who I could get to work with this with me so short notice, because I just was not expecting this.
Right. And it's a great way to help others on their professional path as well. Okay. So definitely thank you for sharing about what the play is about. And you mentioned that you were writing it as a current student. So it's always, it's not like things stop and then start when you graduate. You're working on things while you're a student,
Yeah.
and you were wrapping up your senior year, and with 2 degrees, you were busy, but you managed to have that going on as well.
Yeah, what was lucky is I was taking craft of the dramatic writing at the time with Aaron Ricciardi. I love Aaron Ricciardi. What a wonderful professor. He in the craft of dramatic writing class, he wanted to us by the end of it to write, if we could, at least 40 pages of the play, have like a good draft going. I managed to write an entire draft because I was so invested in this story I was creating. Like, it was just flowing together. And I finished the draft and I was like, okay, maybe I could try to submit it for something. And that led to that. And during that whole craft of dramatic writing class, we worked with the dramaturgy class in the theater department to like pick a scene and have that show during our New Pages event that we had last May. This past May, we did a whole event where all of the playwrights in that class got to have their work showcased. We got to present a scene, and I was able to present a scene of Clara Carmilla. I got to work with some really great people that I knew within the department and everything. Like, everyone was fantastic. And I said during the festival, I found the festival on a whim on Playbill, and I was like, what do I have to lose? So I submitted it, and here we are now.
Yeah, I love that. What do I have to lose, right?
Yeah.
That's great. And you just happened upon it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
I
that
playbill.com like every day, looking at jobs, festivals, everything, because that's what I have to do. I just have to keep looking for stuff.
I think your director has selected,
Nico!
which is nice.
Nico!
I love that. So you kind of you fell into that, seeing that that was something that you could apply for, but you were really active in your search, and that's how you saw it. So it wasn't like you were sitting around, right? You were really
No, yeah,
in that world.
you have to
Which
be
is great.
active, and like,
Yeah.
you need to know when to put limits on yourself, and you also have to be active at the same time. You can't be on either end of the extremes. You can't not be doing anything, but you can't be constantly looking all the time, or else both are very detrimental to you.
Yeah, definitely. And I know also sometimes people worry about the job search and what the next gig is, and it's making that happen and putting it into action. So that's great as well. So I know I spoke with you briefly the other day about like the GoFundMe to raise money for the production. And I'm just wondering, can you share some of those other skills, kind of the business end, that you're not all just in the creative world?
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely for the business end, that was definitely a learning curve for me, because I had never done any. I have a budget for myself, but I have never done a budget like that. And so Catherine Doherty was a huge part in helping me get that together. And then I worked with Nico as well. Nico and I had many phone conversations about what a good budget could be, like how should we shoot for this, and what is going to cost each, how much we're going to pay actors and crew, and then how much rehearsal space is going to cost, and then gathering props together. And we were lucky enough to, for one of the rehearsal spaces, we managed, Nico actually managed to get a membership to the rehearsal space, and rehearsal spaces, the cost for them greatly decreased for us, which was amazing. It's all about like figuring out your budget and then finding ways to even save within that budget. So if you don't reach your goal, you can find ways to penny pinch and everything. And then Jenna came up with this bingo idea where it was very simple, and it's something she did with Miami theater players, where like you just fill up the bingo card, and that was able to get us towards getting a lot of props taken care of and everything of that. But I made sure when I was budgeting, I already set aside money to pay the actors and crew members, because that to me was very important.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that you said that it's a learning curve and you had your resources and Professor Doherty and you're learning along the way. And then, yeah, even how to price the show, and there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, I think it's great because you're a creative person, so you can, think about all the different ways. But yeah, another layer that you definitely have to think about, right?
Yeah,
And then the marketing for it, right? That's a whole other.
that was because they didn't, marketing was tough because we're all very early career artists.
Mhm.
So we don't have the same resources that a lot of people who have been within the industry have. So it took a lot of just posting momentum, encouraging people to share, and doing
Mhm.
what we could given with the resources that we have. And, um, you know, like that's just something we had to face. But my wonderful friend Sabrina Romano designed the poster, and that was a big deal for us to have, because then we could share that, taking production photos and just sharing as much as we could. We made a page on Instagram. It's Clara and Carmilla, and it's the poster. You can go give it a follow, because after this production, I'm still going to keep the page up because I want to keep working on this show. So that'll be like the home for the show. But uh, Jenna has been running our Instagram page. We've been just doing what we can, just promoting as much as we can.
Yeah, and then the skills and the ideas you have from this one, that'll happen a little more seamlessly next time,
This was
right?
definitely a trial by fire, because all of us were like trying to figure out what to work with what we have. And it was stressful at times. I mean, any production can be stressful, but this was our first time really doing it like on our own in a sense. And we learned a lot and we gained a lot. And there were ups and downs, as there always is with anything.
Yeah, I think that it is the time to learn so many different things when you're kind of forced to. Like you want the show to happen, and then there's just things that it would have probably not occurred to you to learn everything in such a short time, probably, and focus on the actual play because that's huge as well.
Yeah.
So how is it going this
Um,
week? Because
it's going good. I'm very proud of our entire cast and crew. We've had some small audiences because we were performing on like a Tuesday and Wednesday night. So like it wasn't packed or anything, but tomorrow it's a Saturday. It's at 4:30. I know a bunch of people who are coming. My entire family is coming. Some of the actors' families are coming, and then just people we know and we reached out to are coming. So tomorrow's gonna be very, very exciting.
That's great. And in the bio for this arts chat, I can put a link.
Yes.
So hopefully this might draw a little more audience who
Yeah.
are
Aspen,
interested in seeing you.
yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, and so that's been a whole journey. And when starting out, you're not gonna like, pack houses or any like that's I've learned very quickly that you can't expect that, because then you're gonna feel that's just not how it works. And like it sucks that we have to pour so much of ourselves into this when we shouldn't have to. And but at the same time, you have to it's the balance. It's all about a balance, and that's something I've learned within the past year, is learning how to balance my own life with my professional life, because I can't have it mesh into each other, because then I'm not going to be a full person.
Yeah, and I think that's such a great thing to add since the play focuses on mental health, right? It's one of the so that it all weaves together makes a
Mm-hmm.
lot of sense. And it is we're all like a work in progress, probably personally and professionally. but that you're figuring things out along the way and that you'll be able to bring forward is huge.
Yeah,
So, I'm hoping you can be in that congratulatory phase right now
thank
because
you.
it's amazing. And it's, amazing that that your play was accepted. You're a playwright, Aidan. You're a playwright and you just graduated in May. So
It, it's
that's
been an
amazing.
insane experience. I was lucky enough that after I graduated, me and my family were, my mom, my sister, and I were going up to Maine for a week to go on a nice vacation together. And I was able to take the time and work on the play and sit like in a cabin in the woods and just write, which was also very inspiring because a good portion of the play takes place in the woods with Carmilla and Clara conversing. And that was really nice. And something about being a playwright to me is when I really started wanting to go into that, like I love directing, I love acting, and I really wanted to go into playwriting more because I love writing. And so I made a promise to myself as I was playwriting that I wanted to write stories with LGBTQ characters that wasn't about them being like LGBTQ, unless that's really something I wanted to talk about. Like all the characters in the show are queer in some way or another. I mean, the four college students are all gender nonconforming in some way. Um, and then Carmilla is a lesbian. She identifies as a lesbian. She is queer as well. So I really wanted all of my work to have that because so many queer stories are centered around a person coming out or centered around the hardships of being queer and not just about what they have in life. And you can't separate like the queerness from the person, but it interacts with each other. It all interacts with each other. And there are, and I wanted to write about just being a queer person and dealing with other things because that's something we don't see. And it sucks that we don't see that because it should be more prominent. And there's something amazing. Our dramaturge, Jenna Sargent, who is also a current New Paltz student in the theater, actually currently directing a praxis show right now. So that's amazing as well. You should go check out Jenna Sargent as well and their production on campus. They were our dramaturgy for the production, so they did a lot of research, helped me work on the script and getting pieces together to make it more sense. Um, amazing, amazing dramaturgy, amazing just all-around theater person. And we did a lot of research into queerness with horror or queerness with Gothic because it has always been inherently intertwined with each other. And I think that's something I didn't realize when I first started writing this play. And now that Jenna has brought it up to me and like we've talked about it a lot and I've done more digging and research, it's very prominent because of this idea of the other and what we're afraid of, because that's what Gothic is. That's what horror is. It's what people are afraid of, and people are afraid of things they don't understand. And that's why a lot of queer people gravitate towards horror or gravitate towards these so-called monsters. It's because we can connect to them. And I think it's interesting to bring that to the and be like what happens with these connections and then also talk about like I'm just rambling here, it's just fascinating to me, this idea of I really wanted to bring queer people to the forefront and the entire cast are queer people because I wanted to cast people of the same gender identity in the play of the characters because that is extremely important and that is something that is not seen, hardly seen in the actual professional industry today, which is hard.
Yeah, I love, no, I love that you're bringing it to the forefront because it's going to be you and your generation that does it. So it's great that you're passionate about it and you're actually doing that great work. I also just, in terms of what I work with all the time, it's so nice to see that you're able to combine gender issues and LGBTQ and that you were creative writing and that theater and mental health. So, it's not, students are always asking me, what their minor should be. And or it's just all your passions kind of are coming together, and it's very powerful, as you know, in so many ways. It's really exciting, and I know you're right in the middle of it, so you must have so many things going on.
Uh,
I think it's a really special time to talk to you about it as well.
it's been an incredible process, and I'm so thankful for my entire cast. Um, they've been nothing but amazing during this whole thing and have brought this story to life in ways I could not even imagine, and have got me thinking more about the story and what the future of it could be, which I'm hoping there is a future for it. I it's just been so inspiring and so amazing and so reaffirming in a way. And it's been exciting to work with people of my generation, work with younger people on this, because that's what needs to be done. And
Yeah.
it's just been an amazing process. It's been a crazy process. I'm not going to lie about that. It has been stressful at times, but it also has been very fulfilling at times.
And as long as the people, your audience, doesn't see behind the curtain.
Anything.
So that's good. And yeah, I just think it's great because you're going to bring all these skills forward, and then some things will just, be smoother, and you'll get to focus on some other aspects that, everything had to be so probably planned, and I think it'll just be smoother as just, that's the way things move forward. So I'm wondering if you could just share some takeaways that you would share with current theater students or creative writing students, and just from your experience, or what skills maybe they should work on. Maybe they should start to get some of those administrative type skills so it's not super new everything. What would you say?
I would say, one thing I would say is write whatever you want to write about, because I've had experiences where I was told, like the idea of like putting genre on a stage or just genre fiction in general and all of that, like that isn't prominent, that's not going to get places. And I was like, but then I was reinforced and encouraged to write whatever the hell I want, because who else is going to write it? So write what you want, write what you want to see. um Take breaks, and take care of yourself, because if you're not at 100, if you are not at a good mental health place, you're not going to be able to put in the work that you want to, and you're just going to further perpetuate the cycle. So take time for yourself and do outside things besides theater and writing. Like, enjoy other things, like experience other things, because that's important too. um have a good network, keep in touch with people, because that's been very helpful for me. And also, honestly, my biggest thing is write what you want. Don't be told like you have to write a specific thing in order to quote unquote make it, which is a made up concept in its own right. Write what you want, because you don't know where it's going to take you, and you're not going to be happy unless you write what you want.
That's good. That's good advice.
Inspiration
Really.
in the most unexpected places. Like, I was not planning on writing um a play like this when I first started dramatic writing class, and then I was sitting in my Irish literature class, and we were just doing an overview on Irish writers, and Carmilla was brought up, and I went, wait, that's a thing? Like, that's a novel that was written before Dracula? Why does nobody know about this? And look where I am now.
Yeah, it's super. Let me just see if there's anything